Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. For today's midweek meta deck, we are playing a pretty spicy new deck on the scene here. This was taken by Hamuda to win a legacy challenge, and there's been a few instances of this popping up in top 8s of the last week. Thing off of the classic Guide of Souls Ocelot Pride thing, but then it's playing a bunch of these new warp cards. So let's have a look at the new exciting cards, shall we? First up is Haliya, Guided by Light. So you can warp this for 1 mana, so it comes in and then it goes at the end of turn, then you can cast it for its regular mana cost later. So when this creature or another creature or artifact you control enters, you gain 1 life. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if you gain 3 or more life this turn. And it's a 3 mana 3/3, so it's kind of an interesting Soul Sister type card. Then we have Starfield Shepherd. When this creature enters, search your library for a basic plains or a creature card with mana value 1 or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So this can get us mana if we need it, but it can also just go and find the other half of our Guide of Souls Ocelot Pride combo, which can take over a lot of games. So those are the new cards that this deck is running. There are some builds that run a different creature as well, that like doubles up tokens and things you make, but this particular list that won the challenge is not running that. We've got ourselves good old-fashioned Mother of Runes to keep our creatures safe. We've got Phelia to get some extra value off of our warp creatures, so we can warp them in and then blink them and get the actual front side instead of just the warp side. We've got a good old-fashioned Thalia. It's been a hot minute since we've seen one of these. This is trying to help out against some of the various combo decks that exist in the field. We've obviously got Source Plowshares, so it's great. We've got Ajani because, again, it's great and goes really nicely with this little shell of Ocelot Pride and Guide of Souls. We've got Solitude to complement our Source Plowshares, and then some Witch Enchanters which can go underneath the Chrome Mox, be a land, or be a spell, so doing a lot of things. We have 2 copies of Ephemerate to do a similar thing to Phelia to keep blinking our warp creatures. And we've just got a mana base with some Ancient Tombs in to help us actually cast the stuff like the Starfield Shepherd on the front side. There are 4 Wastelands in here and 2 Karakas. So the mana base might be a touch greedy, but the Starfield Shepherd should help here. We are a mono-colored deck. We've got 8 basics, that's not too bad. Sideboard, what are we looking at? Well, we've got another Thalia, we've got a Stony Silence, some Rest in Peace, some Exorcise, so this can do many different things. So it can get rid of the 1 ring, but it can also get rid of the Merchant Regent, so it's kind of flexible, despite not being amazing at any one thing, because it's a sorcery, and the creatures you're hitting have to be of a certain size, but it's a useful sideboard card for sure. I've played it in the past. Deafening Silence, again, we're a white deck, we need help versus combo. A couple of bits of Graveyard Hate, and then an Unlicensed Hearse and some Null Rods. So a bunch of good sideboard cards that you can play in white. I think this list, or lists similar to this, have now put up 3 or 4 top 8s in the last sort of 2 weeks. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on. Alright, let's see how we fare with it. Like and subscribe. And if you want to help the channel out and see my videos early, for just $1 a month, you can become a member and you get access to my videos ahead of time. Alright, let's jam Hamuda's deck. If you are looking to buy some Magic cards, not only does 3for1 Trading have a wonderful online store linked in the description of this video, but they will also have booths at upcoming events. MagicCon Atlanta from the 26th to 28th of September, Eternal Weekend Pittsburgh from the 9th to the 12th of October, and Spiel 25 in Essen from the 23rd to the 26th of October. Whether you're looking to sell off cards you don't need or add more to your collection, 3for1 Trading has got you covered. So what is this hand going to achieve for us? We have Guide of Souls into what? Nothing particularly exciting. We're wastelandable off of white. We've already kind of got a mulligan with double Phelia. I think we can do better than this. Okay, I like this a little bit more. I think we send back the Haliya, and then we've got a Mother of Runes and we've got stable mana. Our deck is just full of creatures as well, so we should be able to draw a little bit more action when the time comes. We've got 2 draw steps. We've got an emergency removal if we need it. I think this is fine. Lan or Elves? Are we playing like good old-fashioned Elves here? There's been a little resurgence of Elves recently, because Orcish Bowmaster's not really in the format that much at the moment. Certainly not as much as it once was, which means Elves kind of gets to tee off a little bit more. So we need to keep our eyes peeled for a good opportunity for this Solitude. An Allosaurus Shepherd. Considering the nature of our deck, this isn't actually that important. Like, the overrun is what we're more worried about, not the uncounterable, because we're not about that sort of life. A Mother of Runes. Is this a land or is this a spell? Could be a spell soon. Is it worth taking 3 life against our opponent's deck to get the Enchanter in and hold this up as a potential? Because this becomes 2 mana once we get the Thalia in anyway. I think I'm willing to play the Meadow here. Now this is a matchup where removal is obviously great, so having access to more removal makes sense to me. It might be a little bit tricky to turn the corner on this one, because we're also like a small creature deck. Green Sun Zenith, X equals 0, so we're getting another Dryad Arbor. Okay, so our opponent is building up for a natural order, by the looks of things. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need one more mana to get the natural order going. How do we interact with natural order here? That is a very good question. Now we can strip out some of the creatures, which means you probably have to Solitude a mana dork if that's what we want to do, so that they have less mana. But if they just drop a Cradle at any point, then they get to natural order and probably Steamroller over us. A Guide of Souls. So we can play out all of these things, but then we won't have a Solitude to use. What is the pitch to the Solitude? It's probably the Mother. How are we going to get... So we could high roll here and play Guide, Haliya, Mother, and then draw a card at the end of turn and try and find a white card. Given the difficult nature of what this matchup looks to be, because we're really going to struggle to push through just a bunch of dorks. And if we like remove a creature, we do take them off of natural order for a turn. I guess we go Guide of Souls, Haliya, and then Pitchcaster Solitude, and that gains us our last bit of life that we need. Yeah, okay. We found the line in the end. So we'll get the Guide of Souls out. We'll warp this in. This gives us a little bit of life here, and then we can Solitude. And what do we get rid of here? I want to get rid of the Elvish Reclaimer because this finds the Cradle. But are we supposed to get rid of a mana dork so they can't natural order this following turn? That's really tough. If we have a land in natural order, how dead are we? Probably very dead. But then we're just going to be in the exact same bind the following turn. Okay, I think we have to get rid of the Reclaimer. And then, are we attacking with our Thalia? We need to push damage at some point. Okay, I think that's what we're doing here. And I think, in case we draw a Swords to Plowshares, we should play out the Eiganjo this turn. Because this in the hand does nothing, and I think this next turn cycle is really, really important. If they cast a natural order with all these guys, at least they're going to be... These are all going to be tapped. So we stack with the Warp on the bottom. It's just good practice to get into, because sometimes having the number of permanents in play can be important for things like Ocelot Pride. So can we draw a Swords to Plowshares? An Ephemerate. Do I want to blink this creature out right now? Is that worth doing? Should have had this with the Solitude, to be honest. What would be better to blink out? Like, we know we have nothing going on here. Alright, I think we will... Oh no, it costs 2 to blink this anyway because of our own Thalia. Okay, we don't have that choice. An Elvish Mystic. Sure. Another Elves. 1 card in our opponent's hand. It does feel like it could be some sort of natural order. Yeah, so this is why taking one of the mana dorks out probably wouldn't have made the most amount of difference. Okay, we have a Wasteland. That's not nothing. I think we cast this. This gives us the energy to then jump in the sky with our Thalia. Or do we jump in the sky with our Guide of Souls? Guide of Souls soaks up more if they are overrunning, but I think we're just dead if they overrun anyway. Alright, let's take out one of their lands. They got a crop rotation. Oh, you're just putting in an endurance. Okay. That is much better than them having a natural order. I will take that. So I think we go in for 4 first strike here because that gets through the endurance. We put the counters on it. So you've got 4 power first striker with flying. So they can chuck the endurance under the bus. They shouldn't. They should just hold back and wait for an actual order and having more material in play. They don't need to chump block right now because they've got a decent amount of life that they're working with. Wow, we managed to just win the game. I think that's quite an early concession from our opponent, to be honest. I think they maybe had a little more game to play. So, an elf deck. I got nothing. Absolutely stone cold nothing here, right? Now, none of this does anything at all for our opponent's deck. That's not exactly a surprise. Elves has certainly not been a deck that people have been worried about for a while. Anything in our main deck that could be maybe upgraded to a 2/1 first striker? Or is this a problem when we're making our Ephemerates more expensive? Ephemerate Solitude is one of the better things we can do. The Exorcise doesn't actually do anything relevant here because their creatures are only big at instant speed in their turn. So this is not going to really hit anything that I care about. I think we're just going in with the starting 60 here. Swords to Plowshares, big fan of seeing that. We will keep this. Now, I'd like a little bit more removal, but beggars can't be choosers. We probably lead off on Guide of Souls. The Mother of Runes isn't that important in this matchup, but it is better than our sideboard cards that we could have swapped it out for. But it allows us to push like little bits of damage here and there, and gives us slightly better blocks. And it's a creature, so it triggers all of our stuff. Besage you into Llanowar Elves over there for our opponent. Let's go for the Guide of Souls here. So I'd like to snag a Cradle with this Wasteland if possible. This looks like a Green Sun Zenith for 0, the amount of time our opponent's spending to cast this spell. There it is. You can normally tell when someone's playing an X spell on Magic Online just because it takes a little bit longer to go through. An Elvish Reclaimer. Okay. Starlight Shepherd. I would like to blink that at some point. I think we are in Plow the Reclaimer. I think we're just going to waste the Dryad Arbor now. And then we can get in for 1. Next turn we're probably looking at doing Mother of Runes tap land unless we can find something better off the top. Like an Ocelot Pride would be really good about now. Green and green. Is this going to be a Visionary? No, it's a green sun for 1. This is probably going to be another Reclaimer. Since they seem pretty big on the last one. Yeah, okay. Plains. Does that change anything here? No, I don't think it does. Here we go. Mother of Runes. Get some energy. Play this tapped. And I guess we just pass here. We can soak up a little bit of damage to stop them nibbling in for attacks here. The next turn we can Starfield Shepherd to get the Ocelot Pride and play the Ocelot Pride, which is probably better than blinking anything. Because the Ocelot Pride is going to be the thing that lets us win this game and go over what our opponent's doing. Alright, so they're not holding up the mana for their Elvish Reclaimer to get a Cradle. That's interesting. Starfield Shepherd. Okay, so we can just do this back-to-back turns. So we'll warp this creature. I will go and get an Ocelot Pride. I will deploy the Ocelot Pride. And then I will attack with this, and I will jump it. So we do need to get damage in at some point, otherwise we will lose the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So next turn we'll have the City's Blessing. So always put the warp on the bottom so that we have more permanence. Okay, we need our opponent to not kill us this turn. Cradle is pretty good here. Cradle and a 1-drop guy is very, very good here because then all of these have the ability to attack and then we probably die. Alright, they're just getting a Dryad Arbor. That's one of the 1-drop guys, but they didn't tap their land for it, so... Well, our opponent really not finding a Cradle over there is giving me some hope. Okay, let's go and get Starfield Shepherd in. Let's go and get another Ocelot Pride. Helps us go wider. Let's get this in. And then, am I ephemerating here? Is it worth ephemerating? We get another thing here and this stays in play. I think that is worth doing. I think we're just going to go and get another Ocelot Pride for next turn. I think that is just the best thing to get here. And we can blink it and go and get the Guide of Souls next turn if we want. So we come in with the Guide of Souls and a flying Ocelot Pride. They do have Endurance mana here. So am I willing to tap my Mother of Runes to make sure we gain 3 life here? Yes, I think I'm willing to do that. So say yes. Get a slightly bigger lifelinking creature. And we're covered from the Endurance if they have it. If they don't have it, then they're just dead, I think. Because we're about to pop off in a big way with these Ocelot Prides. Okay, so we get some cats. And we get some triggers. And then the second cat will see the first set of tokens that the first cat put in. And then it makes a way more impressive board. And now we're getting to the point where Natural Order is not going to be good enough. I wouldn't be surprised to see a scoop for our opponent this turn cycle. We have a lot of energy. Alright, our opponent's getting a Cradle this turn off of the Reclaimer. Makes sense. But we have 33 life and a lot of toughness that we can stick in front of whatever they do. Now, they could have like a Glimpse of Nature combo turn if they're doing that with their deck, and that could beat us. Collector Roof, this is just going to be another creature to make the Natural Order better. But not really sure how good the Natural Order is. This is not lethal with these creatures. So it's probably going to be an Atraxa. There it is. I'm not sure how many things they'll be able to get off of this. Alright, Snuff Out. That's not nothing. 3 Snuff Outs in there. So they've taken Snuff Out, Green Sun Zenith, Safekeeper, Windswept Heath. And there is the Safekeeper. One of my favourite little creatures at the moment, the Safekeeper. Alright, they've played the Windswept Heath as well. Now we have the Mother of Runes to protect against Snuff Out. White of the Reliquary. Okay, so the next Green Sun Zenith might kill us. But we're about to have more Ocelot Pride triggers than you can imagine. And hopefully that gets us where we need to go. So we get to rebound something. So we're going to rebound the Starfield Shepherd. And then we get the Guide of Souls. We play Guide of Souls into Ocelot Pride. And then we're going to be getting 2 life for each token, but we're going to be making 1 billion tokens. And we're going to see if the Magic Online client can handle the amount of cats that we're going to be putting down. Some other runes actually going to be very useful here. So we go and get a Guide of Souls. We still have a draw for turn. Maybe we'll find a Solitude or something. No. Okay, well, let's get a Guide of Souls in first. Then I'd like an Ocelot Pride, which gains us 2 life. Our Ocelot Pride will be able to beat this in combat because of the first strike, and we can put 2 stacks of counters on it, which is pretty great. Let's get this Ajani in. Let's make some more counters. So we're getting a 2-1 cat now. But that will get copied by both Ocelot Prides at the end step. Because we have 2 Guide of Souls, we can put 4 counters on our Ocelot Pride, so we'll have a 7 power first striker in the air. Snuff out, targeting the Ajani. I don't care about that at all. I think our opponent's trying to make us make a mistake. But that's not what this game is about. Like, we don't have any red permanents, so we can't dome our opponent. Okay, so we have plenty of energy, we have 2 Guide of Souls, so we should just be able to send in this cat, and it will get big. Right, so we're putting all our counters on this Ocelot Pride. We're cracking in for 7 here. So they have to chump block with the Atraxa, or they die, because they use the Snuff Out. And their opponents just off it. I don't know how many tokens we're going to make in the end step, but it's probably going to be a lot. So that's pretty cool. Yep, deck felt pretty strong there. Now, obviously, Elves is... Our opponent's Elf draw as well was also kind of bad. Like, they're not fully Elves. They're sort of Elves crossed with, like, Cradle Control, because you don't normally see Llanowar Elves actually in the Cradle Control decks very much. It tends to be the, like, Ignoble Hierarchs. So they're sort of somewhere between the two, so they're not like the big explosive Glimpse of Nature looking Elf build. Alright, let's go to round 2. Honestly, I don't think this hand is particularly useful. Our deck really needs to be doing something on turn 1, and like Ephemerate here is kind of good with the Solitude, but it might not be a matchup where that's even relevant. I think I'm just going to mulligan this. We have so many powerful things our deck can do. See, look at this. This is way stronger. Keep this, and what are we getting rid of? It's probably just... the Witch Enchanter is the second white for turn 2, so I think it's the Wasteland. We're just going to index into doing the most powerful thing our deck can do, which is Guide of Souls into double Pride. I think we play the Pride first so that they can't take them both, although we're probably going to get Thoughtseized. No Thoughtseized. We're just going to get Entombed, and that'll be bad as well. So we play this. I think we just play out the Ocelot Pride. So if they're going to remove something, we still keep the combo assembled, because these kind of just feed into each other. And this still gets to attack and gain us life anyway, so it's kind of a bit of a wash on that front. If they Orcish Bowmaster this down, that is something that we could have avoided by playing the Guide of Souls. Alright, Exploration. A black-green Exploration deck. Interesting. Are they just splashing for like the Cabal Therapy and Thoughtseizers of the world? That is not an uncommon thing these days. I will pay 3 life. I will deploy a Guide of Souls. I will deploy an Ocelot Pride. We will yield to this trigger, because we're going to have a lot of triggers throughout this game, so we need to make sure we're not wasting all of our time. Alright. We got some cats. We can have the City's Blessing on our next turn. If they're just making construct tokens, that's not going to be what we're doing here. If they're going to get a Blast Zone at some point, that might be what we're doing here. They should take out this Witch Blessed Meadow, I think. Yep, they agreed. This feels like they're just going to make a construct. No? Got something else coming down? Crop Rotation. Is this the Blast Zone? The Tabernacle. Are we scooping to this? We might be scooping to this. We only have 1 land. I don't think we pay for any of these. It's just not about that anymore, is it? Okay, that was one of the best Tabernacles I've seen for a while. But this time we have a land that attacks a 2, so we can keep multiple things alive. We also have an Ajani, so if one of our cats dies, we get to flip it and we get the thing to make more tokens. Or we can just go really tall on one particular guy. And then we can Cataclysm off of it at some point, which is the ultimate. It's like a one-sided Cataclysm. So we can take them down on their permanents. Unfortunately, because it's a relatively new card, it doesn't say lands as one of the things you get to Cataclysm, which would be the main thing I would like to get rid of. So they're going to name the backside of Ajani here. I think we're already dead here. Now, if our opponent doesn't find an engine card, like Life from the Loam or something, maybe we can get through this. I would like to see a little bit more of our opponent's deck before we scoop, because the swamp, not necessarily I think it's going to make much difference to how we sideboard. Alright, another Wasteland. Alright, I think we're just done here. Okay, Tabernacle, not my friend. Our hand was absolutely bananas, but our opponent's was just had the thing that trumped us, and that is life sometimes. So things that do stuff here. Exorcise kills Urza Saga tokens, which is kind of a big deal sometimes. We don't want Deafening Silence. We maybe want these. I'm just going to pull everything relevant here, and then we'll address things afterwards. I don't think we want Stony Silence or Null Rod. We could have them, but I think the Unlicensed Hearse is the best thing we have going on here. And we do have the Wastelands to try and deal with specific lands. I don't think Thalia is very good either here. So we have 7 things I'm considering. How many things do we actually need here? How useful is Mother of Runes? We've seen the black mana from our opponents. They might have some bone mass and things. I think the Thalia looks pretty poor here. Our opponent's just got a million lands. So that probably gets us like an Unlicensed Hearse and... Do you want to Rest in Peace, probably? Sure. Just shut off the Loam engine. Seems fine. And then, how do I feel about Ephemerate here? What are we blinking? Like the Shepherds and stuff is fine, but I think we just have a couple of Exorcises in so we can deal with some big problem permanents. And I don't think we bought anything else in. We just have, like, these things. Like, we want to have our removal spells in case they have Merit Lage early. We also need to respect the construct tokens, which these can do. The Phelia is pretty good against construct tokens as well, but this can blow up not only construct tokens, but it can blow up the land itself. It can blow up things like Exploration or any sort of spooky thing that we are worried about. Wish my opponent made constructs instead of getting the Tabernacle. We're pretty exposed to Wasteland here. What does our curve look like? So we go turn 1 Guide, turn 2 Ajani. I think that's acceptable. I'll keep that. We'll keep the Witch Enchanter in hand because it's a white card. It does mean playing out the Karakas here. I don't think this is going to be a very good matchup at all. Lands is pretty good into like creature combat decks as a general rule. And we're not necessarily fast enough to go under some of the things. And the Tabernacle and Blast Zone are exceptionally good against what we're doing. Because we have a bunch of 1-drops that can just get eaten alive. Okay, so we're not going to be able to take our opponent that easily off of green mana. Which is sometimes what you want to do in this matchup. Alright, we're losing our land. I'm going to cast Exploration and then play a Tabernacle. Currency Converter. Okay, so we might be doing something a bit more poxy, maybe? I don't know. Alright, so play this one out. I'll pay 3 life. I will deploy the Friend. I set up for a very similar blowout to last time. Are we going to get stung by a Loam here? We are. So they have the Depths and the Wasteland. So if they have a Tabernacle available at some point, we are in severe trouble. Alright, we found a basic. That is something I can work with here. I don't think there's any point in playing anything other than this Plains out right now. We could play out the Ancient Tombs. We can keep more creatures back if they have a Tabernacle. But if they have a Tabernacle, are we just dead anyway? Maybe I will play out the Ancient Tomb just to play around that specific line of getting the Tabernacle. So we have slightly more material in play. We'll attack with our team. And I will pump the cat. Because if we're only getting 1 creature to remain alive after our next turn cycle, I'd rather it be a 3/3 flying that makes more tokens. I'm going to dredge that Loam. It gives them 3 looks to find a Blast Zone or a Tabernacle. They did not do that though. I suppose if they draw a natural card, they could find a Tabernacle or one of their 4 crop rotations or the Expedition map. That's the one I'm thinking of. So there's a lot of options they can use to destroy all of our creatures. What are they going to hit here? If they've got a crop rotation, they hit the Ancient Tomb. Okay, they've hit the Ancient Tomb. That is probably lights out for us. Here we go. Good old Tabernacle. Okay, so this one dies. This one flips, so we don't have to pay for him later. This Cat Warrior dies. We don't pay for this one. Can't pay for this one. We pay for this one though. This one goes away. So we could try and Wasteland Tabernacle. Our opponent can't redeploy it next turn because they don't have another land. I think that is the play here. We're just trying to get over the line tempo-wise here. If they've got another crop rotation, we are very dead. Yep. Doesn't feel like a particularly close matchup, this one. A Maze of Ith, you say? Right, let's just pump my cat that's just going to get bounced. But there's no point making more bodies when we're not going to be able to pay for them very easily in the near future. Yep. That second crop rotation. Yikes. Yep. They're dredging the life alone. So they've got Eumidian Hatchery in there. And Abrupt Decays. So they're probably not full poxing or anything. They're just using like crop rotations to get the tokens going. Which is cool. This is definitely something I've messed around with a little bit and it felt pretty good. Thespian Stage. We need to draw a Wasteland, please, deck. So they're probably just going to fire off the loan this turn. Yep, so Wasteland, Boseiju, Tabernacle. Yep. I describe that as a bad situation for us. Wasteland, please. Not a Wasteland. Okay. So, each opponent chooses an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker, and sacrifices the rest. So I can make them lose the currency converter or the Mox Diamond. That doesn't really seem worth doing, does it? Alright, we'll make them use this Maze of Ith. So this gains us 1 life. This gains us 2 life. This gains us 3 life. So we'll draw a card. No, at the beginning of your end step. Oh, this is an intervening if clause. So yeah, this will work the way I want it to. So we go... warp this in. Because this gains a life on itself. And the way this is worded, it should mean that it will check every turn. So we can gain life before this trigger resolves. So if we make a cat here, I guess our second life. And we go to end step. We stack this on the bottom, then this. And the Ocelot Pride will make us a token, which will gain us a life. And then this will trigger and we'll draw a card. Another Ocelot Pride. These are good cards, but we're just not able to get through the Tabernacle. Maybe there's a situation where our opponent gets another artifact out and we can Cataclysm them. It's not a full Cataclysm because we don't take the lands, which is what I would really like this to do. The first red-white Ajani we had, that did blow up lands. I think the ultimate was just one-sided Armageddon. I played that card quite a lot in Standard. It was good times. Oh wow, we're just cycling with a currency converter. I guess they've just got a Tabernacle in hand and that's fine. Are they going to dredge? Or not? They're destroying a card and discarding a depth and putting the depths underneath the converter. Your friend and mine, Tabernacle. Right, so this cat has to die, I'm afraid. Let me pay for the other 2. So we are actually getting damage through now. You're not a land. That's what I wanted to see, really. Alright, let's pump both of my guys. We know they've got a Wasteland, so this is going to get pretty sketchy for us. But we get to force 3 damage through this turn. But they're going to Wasteland our Witch Blessed Mellow. And then we're going to be left with just this Ocelot Pride, Plains, and this Ajani. Yep. So I did mention at the top that our mana base does, you know, for a single coloured deck, we do have a little bit of vulnerability to stuff like Wastelands and things because we only have the 8 basics. And we're certainly seeing that in this matchup. Because this is the difference between us being able to attack our opponent for damage and us not being able to do that. Right, goodbye little cat warrior. I will pay for the Ocelot Pride because it's the best creature that we've got in our deck pretty much. So what else are we saving the mana for here? Alright, they're putting this in. So this means we're probably looking at Abrupt Decay. Are we supposed to pay or are they just going to... Oh, okay, they're killing the Ajani. Okay. It's not the worst. Eiganjo. So our opponent can just Wasteland and get stuff back. Is it even worth playing the Eiganjo? If our opponent's doing that, they're not progressing their game plan though. So I think I will deploy the Guide of Souls, I guess. I don't think it really matters which one it is. I'm not going to bother attacking and make our opponent click through the Maze of Ith. I'm not trying to grind time on the clock. Our opponent's playing at a pretty good pace, similar pace to us, so nothing to punish there. Let's just play some good magic. Alright, they dredged the loam, so they're going to get back the Dark Depths and the Wasteland here. They can start in with Ghost Quarter at some point as well. But we have quite a few basics to rip through. So it'll take a while to the Ghost Quarter line. But the entire time we're going to be pressured from this Tabernacle. Ghost Quarter, Wasteland, Depths. Yep. There's the Wasteland. Goodbye, Eiganjo. So this play we did was just to make our opponent do that. So they're not making a 2020 or whatever. So we get a chance to try and Wasteland our way out of this game. Say no to the Guide of Souls. Yes to proposition Ocelot Pride. Wasteland. Not a Wasteland, but this is a useful card. Now, we need to get the mana to cast it, which is a different problem. But now our opponent has a turn where they can just do what they like. So they can go and get the... They can put the Dark Depths into play and they're going to have a 20/20. But if they spend their time making a 20/20, we can answer it with this Solitude. And that gives us potentially a little window. Alright, they're just going for the Ezra Saga plan instead, which is very good as well. It feels like our opponent can do pretty much any plays they want at this point and we're going to lose. But the Tabernacle is just too much pressure for us to handle. We need to just rip planes off the top for a few turns. Can I please draw a planes? No, we can't draw a planes. It's even worth playing this out is the question. Right, it forces our opponent's hand on the Wasteland, but they already have the Wasteland in hand, I think. No, it's in the graveyard here, so that would force them to make that instead of making constructs. I'll play this tapped and pass. See, this is the planes, then we'd be getting somewhere. We could drop the planes and the following turn, if we draw another land, any land at that point, we could drop the Rest in Peace, and that shuts off our opponent's engine. Apologies if you can hear the wind outside, it's very loud. Saga is ticking up. Our opponent could do something really weird, like get a Pithing Needle naming Wasteland, so we can't ever get rid of the Tabernacle, and then they just Ghost Quarter us out of the game over the course of however many turns that takes. Life from Alone, getting back a bunch of things that are going to ruin our day, sure. There's a Wasteland, we're going to lose the Witch Blessed Meadow. Our opponent's made an Urza Saga here out of their Thespian stage. Alright, it's over to our turn. We're going to pay for our guy. We found a basic planes. I'm not upset with that. There's now some torrential rain happening around me, so apologies if you can hear the raindrops. The Urza Saga is going to Chapter 3 now. They are floating mana. Getting another Mox Diamond makes sense. They have a whole bunch of lands in hand at this point. And whenever they discard something, it goes into the currency converter. This is pretty nice. Just getting extra free bits of value here and there. This can also help with colours because it can give you treasure, so it can help you break out of Blood Moons and things. Alright, our opponent has deployed the Dark Depths. Are we going to see a Merit Age? Our opponent getting 20 life is pretty counterproductive to the way we're planning on winning this game. We might have to just let this Ocelot Pride go and deploy the Rest in Peace. So we're getting back a Wasteland, a Stage, and a Saga. Okay. Can we beat all those things anyway? Probably not. So this is the decision now. Are we keeping our Ocelot Pride around and trying to draw a land? I think I'm going to try and keep the Ocelot Pride around and draw a land. I think we need to aim high with our deck, because if we like lose this but we do Rest in Peace, then we're still not really getting anywhere, and our opponent is going to be gaining 20 life. We're not going to have any pressure. Urza Saga constructs are going to be very quickly much bigger than this, and we're just not going to get anywhere. I think we've lost this game. I think we lost this game like on turn 3 or whenever this came down. Right, they're just making a 20/20, so we can kill this. That's not a problem. Well, it is a problem, just not necessarily the biggest of our problems. So let's see if they pay. So you don't have to pay for this because it's indestructible and the Tabernacle does destroy. But we'll see if our opponent knows that. They might tap down a mana here. I suspect our opponent does know it because, you know, it's the deck they're playing with. But oh no, they're paying for it. Okay, so we got a free tap of mana on our opponent's turn there. And then we're going to give our opponent 20 life. We do not necessarily have to kill this, but our mana's kind of tied up, so we may as well take this slight opportunity to use our mana. If they hadn't have tapped this down, they could have Life from the Loams a little bit more easily here. A Nile Spellbomb. Maybe they'll target themselves and help us out. Just give us a fighting chance opponent. Okay, that is a Thespian Stage. They can just make more Maze of Iths as well. I think we're still on the plan of paying for our Ocelot Pride here. Did not find it. We can gain 1 life of this, and that will make us a cap, but what's the point of that? There isn't one. We just keep white cards in hand for now. Got a lot of treasure over there. So they can deploy the Merit Lage combo again this turn with the treasure to make it pop. We can answer it and put our opponent to 51 life. I'd rather Solitude it when we have a Haliya in play, which we can do next turn just to draw a card. There it is. And then they go to clean up, and then the things they clean up go under the currency converter. Pretty nice. Let's say yes to Ocelot Pride and draw a land for turn. We did not draw a land for turn. Okay, so the plan here is we warp this in. No, we don't need to do that, do we? We're not dead to the Marit anyway. We can just take a hit for 20. And then next turn we can get the Haliya in if we don't have the land for the rest in peace. So our opponent would just wait for this to leave play before making the 2020. So I'm not going to just do this for no value. We need to get the card off of this. We need to dig our way to Wastelands and things to get through this one. Like, Rest in Peace plus Wasteland can win us this game. They have one Tabernacle, so if we can get rid of this and put it in the exile zone, we'll be a-okay. Once again, they're paying for the Marit they don't have to. I'm okay to take 20 here. Yep, as the sagas continue to be annoying. Null Spellbomb targeting us. None of those things matter. We're a Rest in Peace deck, so we're not really caring about our graveyard in any way. They're just drawing a card. What is it they're really desperately looking for, I wonder? Or they just had a window where it made sense to do. But then why are they doing it now? I guess it doesn't matter when they go to clean up because they get material into their currency converter. So yes to this. Okay, we didn't draw the land. I will warp in this Haliya. I'll pitch cast this Solitude. Because if we can get rid of the Tabernacle and just spam a bunch of Ocelot Prides, that will win us the game, I believe. But we need to get the Rest in Peace and then a Wasteland. I'm not going to make my opponent click through the Maze of Ith triggers. So this goes next and then the Ocelot Pride on top. So we make another guy. That gains us enough life. Are we going to see something off this treasure token or not? Okay, so we're going to get to draw a card here. It's another Ocelot Pride. Okay. We can pay mana to force 1 damage through, but that's not how we're going to win this game. So we just let this cat die, try and draw a land, get this Rest in Peace in. Now our opponent probably has access to like Hex Parasite and some Abrupt Decays at this point. We've seen 3 Abrupt Decays actually. They might not have another one. I wouldn't be surprised if they had the full 4 though, especially when they've got this currency converter to make sure they can actually get the mana off of it. Because this just means that you've got like a way out of Blood Moons and things. Okay. How many Marit can we realistically deal with? They're not playing out a Dark Depths this turn though. The Rest in Peace also stops the currency converter shenanigans because there's a replacement effect, and because it never goes to graveyard, it can't be exiled for the currency converter. Okay, goodbye, cat. Okay, now we're cooking. Rest in Peace. Get in. Okay, so this game is underway now, I think. We have a route to victory. We need to find the Wasteland. If we can permanently exile the Tabernacle, I think we can win this game. That's all it's going to take. Because these 3 things will pop off in a big way. If we can get a Guide of Souls in there. Although Blast Zone still hasn't come up yet, right? So we have that to worry about. This is our opponent's Exile Zone. We haven't seen a Blast Zone yet. I'm pretty sure they're going to have a Blast Zone. It's one of the more powerful tech lands that you can have access to. Explorations. They can kind of empty their hand here. So there is a 2020. That is a problem. We can block it once. Are they going to use this floating mana to make the Marit now? Okay, they're just looting here. Maybe dig in for that Abrupt Decay. Discard an Underground Mortuary, sure. I'll pay for this Ocelot Pride because it can block a Marit token. A Chrome Mox. Okay, 1 life, 2 life, 3 life. Okay, I think I'm willing to try and draw some cards here. This gains us a life. And this gains us a life. Play this Chrome Mox. This gains us a life as well. Do we even need to imprint here? Is it worth imprinting? It gives us more mana to pay for our guys. Let's get another guy in. Now there's an argument for not playing this out so we can keep a mana back in case we draw a plow in the end step. So warp on the very bottom, then the draw, and then we'll have all of these. I think this gets us the City's Blessing as well. And once you've got it, you can't lose it. This feels like the wrong timing to do this. I think you need to wait till we've got all of this. Unless there's something else going on here that I'm not aware of based on what our opponent's got in their hand. Our opponent might just be trying to not have to deal with all my triggers and just F6 through them though. Okay, this will gain us enough life that we don't die to the Marit token. And we did draw the Source of Plowshares. So we can take the damage from the Marit Lage, and then we can pay for 3 guys, attack. We also have the plow ready to go. Then we're going to make a bunch of tokens. We don't gain life off of the other tokens though. If we draw a Guide of Souls, that's interesting. But I think we're just paying for all 3 Ocelot Pride. So we can force through 2 damage. Actually, we can't force through 2 damage because they have Maze of Ith. Actually, no, that's fine. That has a lot of triggers, isn't it? Alright, we're just going to say no to all the little cats. Alright, so now we've got to our Ocelot Prides. I will pay for them. Great turn to draw a Wasteland, please. Not a Wasteland. Phelia is interesting, though. How much damage am I actually putting in here? Because I kind of need to keep this back. I think we're just going to attack with 2 1/1s. Because if they have a crop rotation into another Marit Lage, then we can be in trouble. Yep, so these cats make a bunch of cats. There's so many triggers we're going to have to click through, but we are ahead on clock. Somehow. I guess we haven't been doing that much while our opponent's been spinning their wheels and getting stuff going. Alright, we're getting a draw and discard off of the currency converter. Our opponent's on 50 life. Now, we do swing for huge amounts if we ever get rid of this Tabernacle. We are attacking for 1 at turn at the moment, and it's going to go up to 2 once we get rid of this Marit Lage. They're copying the Maze of Ith. Sure, that's fine. We don't care about the Maze of Ith. It's just a Tabernacle, and they can't have multiple copies of this because it's legendary. Make them pay for this because they seem intent on doing that. I guess one of the downsides is if we Wasteland their Tabernacle, they copy it with a Maze of Ith. So we need to kind of bait out the use of the Maze of Ith that is Thespian Stage here. We're always going to have blockers, I think, so that's not going to be too much of an issue. Yep. I'm going to draw and discard. How many Dark Depths have we seen? Alright, have some more life, opponents. Enjoy. 70 life. That's quite a large number, isn't it? Opponent only has 18 cards left, though. I was not expecting to have games go this long with this deck. Yes, I'll pay for my friends. A Wasteland, you say? Alright, let's see if we can bait out these Maze of Iths. So that's Wasteland. We need our opponent to tap these Mox Diamonds down. And I did not make a mistake. We can also draw another Wasteland and we can overload them. A Dark Depths. Okay. A Wasteland. They would like to Wasteland my Wasteland. Okay, I guess we would like to Wasteland your Tabernacle and force you to copy it. Okay. And we're back to this nonsense again. Got to click through this all. You can shortcut it by yielding to all the triggers and then just hitting the 4 key, which is the no. So it's actually not taking that much time off our clock. You do have to say no twice though, because it asks you to make sure you're not just giving up your pieces by clicking the wrong button once. It's a land. I'll take it. So they have the ability to make a Marit Lage. So we're going to have to put an Ocelot Pride under the bus this turn. But the Phelia can attack and blink out the Marit Lage every turn. Finely poised game, this one. We can also blink out Mox Diamonds with the Phelia. And that's going to be pretty good too. Right, you continue to pay for your Marit Lage. We do have to put the Ocelot Pride under the bus this turn. It does kind of give us more mana to work with on our turn. If they've got someone like a Sajiri Step there, they can just push through and we die. But I think we've fought a pretty good fight considering how bad this matchup looks. I think our opponent could have been grinding some Urza Saga constructs earlier. They're just really intent on drawing into something specific here. I guess if they find the Abrupt Decay, they just have lethal here. But instead we're just going to have a nice little time having our cat go under the bus. Okay. They might be digging for a Sajiri Step as well. It's another possibility. A Wasteland. We don't have lots of cats to click through this time, which is nice. Right, so we can just say yes to all of these. A Wasteland. This is a Tabernacle. Interesting. Am I taking out a Maze of Ith here? I don't think so. I think we attack with all of our creatures and blink out the Marit Lage. Sure. So probably Maze the 2 Ocelot Prides. I don't care about the life total really. I think you could even just take this and give me more things to click through in a minute. Right, let's take out this Tabernacle and free ourselves up a bit. Okay, so now we're actually going to start assembling enough creatures that we might be able to win this game. We have no plays this turn, so we can F6 and let our opponent do their whatevers. If they've got a Blast Zone, they can strip out our Ocelot Pride, which is going to be a bit of a pain, but again, we can live with that. Our opponent's got 2 minutes to find a way of winning this game, so they probably have to start making constructs, but how are these constructs going to get through? Toxic Deluge. Okay. Was not expecting that one. That's pretty good. But you've got 1 minute and 40 seconds to win the game. Construct's pretty big, though. But we have 3 cards over here that we get to fire in with. We don't have any more Ocelot Prides in our deck left. Okay, let's cast this. If I play another one of these, it will see itself, and the other one will see it. So I will gain enough life to draw a card. Is that worth spending 2 life here? I think it is. Unless I've made a horrible mistake with how this card is going, how this is actually going to work for us. We don't even need to take life, do we, because of the Urborg? Okay, yeah, this is definitely right. But it does see them, and then this is going to get us a card draw at the end of turn. Alright, you can get a treasure token, give you a 7/7. Now this is losing some of the material we have that can get in the way here. Exorcise. That's exactly the sort of thing that I wanted to draw. Okay, so we go under the... Do we go under the bus with this or not? It's hard to say. It depends what our opponent does here. If they've got some like Swifty Boots, then we have to go under the bus of one of them. Fail to find. Okay, so no Swift Boots. We're doing some currency converting here. Seeing if they can remove our creature and get in 8 damage right now. Discarding a life from loam makes sense. This has been a proper epic game, and I hope you've been enjoying this one. Oh, another Urza Saga. That kind of causes me some problems. Am I taking 8 now, or I can prevent more damage next turn? I think I'm just going to take the 8 this turn. Are we getting rid of the Saga, or are we getting rid of one of the constructs? They buy us different amounts of time. The Karakas is pretty phenomenal here, as it turns out. So let's go... Cast this. Let's get rid of a construct. Okay. So then we can play out this Karakas. And we can just sort of sit there and bounce our guy and block for a turn. I think we're going to win via timeout here. Not necessarily how I like to play the game, but I guess our opponent has the Wasteland here, so they can just take out our Karakas, which is a bit awkward for us as well. My brain is slowly turning to mush over this course of this game. Oh, they tapped their Wasteland rather than Wastelanding our Karakas. Okay. We let our opponent make a mistake, and they've made one. I think you're supposed to tap the Maze of Ith there, and not the Wasteland. Making a construct, sure. I just don't think they have time here. We'll block here. Bounce this. We can warp this in as well, if that becomes useful for us. 2 seconds on our opponent's clock. I don't think they're winning this one. A Mother of Runes. Let's get this in. Let's play the Mother. That's 2 blockers. Do I want to play this and get a 3rd blocker? No. This gains us another life. Sorry, it's not a 3rd blocker. It gains us another life, but we don't have the mana unless we use the Ancient Tomb to get this in. Is drawing a card good enough, though? No, I think I'm just going to keep the Karakas up. Our opponent's got 1 second left on the clock. I don't think it matters. Yeah. Okay, we managed to win that match. That was an incredible slog. Yeah. A 1-1. So we lost the first game, and we just managed to grind our opponent's clock there. Whew. All right. I'm going to have to take a minute before we go to the next one. That was very long. Let's go to round number 3. Mother of Runes into like Ajani is fine. I'll take this one. Like, we're a creature deck. Mother of Runes can protect us in a big way against a bunch of stuff. I'm hoping that we don't run into too many like turn 1 combo decks. We don't have the most amount of tools for them. Although I wouldn't necessarily mind a quick round, given the last one was a bit of a slog. We might be in a mirror match here. Swords to Plowshares. Yep, use it or lose it. Okay, so now we're on to what if we played an Ajani. So we can use our Karakas if we want to. We can also play an Ajani to let the legend rule happen and get a Planeswalker. And then just start growing our team. That's pretty strong here as well. But we'll see what our opponent's up to. 2 planes. Definitely could be a mirror match. Like, people have sort of cottoned onto this deck. It feels like our opponent's going to play a Phelia this turn cycle. So I'd like to keep up some mana for the Phelia. I don't think we attack with the Ajani into the telegraphed Phelia here. I think we just attack with this Cat Warrior token. And I will play this, sandbagging this Karakas until the last minute. We'll keep the old one. Yes, let's have a Planeswalker. I think the first one is make a cat, and then we pump them next turn. And then I'll play this Karakas out. So if they have the Phelia, it doesn't do anything here. Not today, Phelia. Get back in that hand. A Witched Blessed Meadow. So all signs do point to this being a mirror match. It's tapped. I think when you are under the gun this much, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I would like to... What would I like to do here? We could tutor for a plains. I think we want to tutor next turn. So we want to get the Phelia in this turn. Which means we're probably just pumping our cats here. Attack all these creatures. It's a big chunk of damage. There's the Phelia. Back to the hand we go. Right, they've basically just got a Rishadan Port there. But I kind of choose when I activate it, I guess. Alright, they've had enough. So, I believe we are in the mirror match. So, do we have any more removal spells? No. Exorcise sometimes is a removal spell. But I don't think it's looking particularly useful. Honestly, I think we just send the base 60 again. I don't know what we can improve here. We just need to probably lose game 2, but then win game 3 because we're on the play. Thalia is not that exciting, but First Strike isn't the worst thing in a matchup like this. Alright, let's just send it again. I don't think we want any sideboard cards. Like the Exorcise might not hit that many things. Okay, we are pretty darn cold to the old Wasteland here. And we could probably mulligan and have a similar looking hand. I think we just mulligan. Okay, this looks better to me. What are we going to get rid of here? And then we get rid of a plains, because this can always be a plains if we need it to be. A Guide of Souls. Okay. Is it more important to kill their Guide of Souls or keep our Guide of Souls in play? I think we should kill their Guide of Souls. Because without the life gain, they don't immediately start going wide with the Ocelot Pride, and we can put a creature in the way that can kill the Ocelot Pride. Okay, another Guide of Souls. They got an Ocelot Pride to go with it? Okay, we've lost this game. We don't really have the tools to beat this, I don't think. We can assemble our own combo. It has to be right now, though. We did not assemble it right now. I'll play a Karakas, and I guess the plan is to ambush them with a Phelia and hope that we can block a creature. A Wasteland. Well, that sucks. Let's get a dog in. I think this game is already over, though. An Ajani. Sure. So now if we kill their Ocelot Pride, they get the Ajani. So they also just jump their Ocelot Pride here. How are we supposed to get back from this? Playing Ajani of our own is okay, but we're behind on mana. Yep, so just going to jump one Ocelot Pride. Now, we can attack and blink out tokens, which is not nothing. Kind of need another land to really operate here. If we draw a plains, we can Starfield Shepherd, attack, blink the Starfield Shepherd, get it back, attack him with just this cat. Are they going to pump it or not? They are. So we can attack and diminish this next turn if we want to. We got some options. I don't think any of them are very good, though. Not in the face of our opponent's board. A Guide of Souls. I just don't think we're winning this one, and we should just save our time, especially after I had a big long game last time. Need to just draw better than our opponent. Easy game. Being on the play is kind of a huge deal, though. Mother of Runes is nice. Is it better than Ocelot Pride? Uncertain. But it means that we get to keep our Ocelot Pride around. So I think we probably do want the Mother. It forces our opponent to spend a removal spell on turn 1 if they have it. And then it works as a duress, or it works as our creatures are protected from removal for the rest of the game. So it's just an annoying situation for our opponents. A Guide of Souls. Okay. Are we playing an Ocelot Pride or an Ajani this turn? So next turn, we can double spell at 4 mana, right? So we can go Thalia and Ajani. That's quite strong. But if we just play this plains out, we can just play an Ajani right now and get that ticking. I think that is the better thing we can do here. And then we're just sort of sitting back. Do they have an Ocelot Pride? This game becomes difficult if they do. Witch Blessed Meadow, 3 life. 3 life not really a thing that matters. I don't think this is going to be like a close race where we're bashing each other for a little bit. I think one person's going to be miles ahead of the other person by the time the game's over. It's not going to be a close fought race. It's just who assembles their combo. Alright, we got Haliya Guided by Light. So this is going to gain them 2 life. And then if they play an Ocelot Pride, then they're going to gain another 2 life. And then they're going to make some friends and then gain another 2 life and draw a card. And that's going to be real scary. Yep, they have the Ocelot Pride. Okay. This mirror does not feel the most skill-intensive mirror I've played in my life. It's very much just who gets to draw the combo and keep it around. So maybe they'll mess up and put the warp in the wrong place, and then they won't gain as much life or draw a card. Well, they've already done enough to draw the card, so they should be fine here. Oh dear, oh dear. Get them again some more life, and they drew a card. What are we supposed to do about this? Ephemerate. Does that do anything? Probably not. So we can attack with our Cat Warrior. That's not really going to do very much, is it? I'm probably just going to take 2 damage, and I can live with that. Like, what is 2 damage when you have this life gain engine? So if I want to Ephemerate, which I think I do, just to grow our Ajani here. So I think we do this, and then we have the ability to Ephemerate, flip over to get another 2/1 cat that can then maybe go under the bus. Although they're probably just going to go in the sky, so they don't really get to do anything. Yikes. Like, we're still going to... I think... I'm just trying to work out if it's worth getting another 2/1. Would I pay 1 mana for a 2/1 creature? Like, it's a Savannah Lions at this point. Is that worth my Ephemerate here? We do get another one on the next turn. There's kind of like 2 Savannah Lions. But is this game about just having 2/1s? Or do we need to, like, try and draw into a Solitude that we can then blink? I think that makes more sense. We need to, like, play towards the higher end draws to get back in this game. Because as long as they play a creature every turn, we lose the game, which is scary. And once they have a flying Ocelot Pride, it doesn't matter. They can just make tokens every turn, and then we're just going to die. Yep. So the Ocelot Pride attacks, it jumps, and then we take 3. Our opponent gains 3, so they're going to be up to 26. So this is what I mean about the life totals not really being the thing that matters. They're coming in with just a cat token. They can't be worried about... maybe they are worried about Eiganjo, I guess. That would make sense. Because if they know our list... Because I assume my opponent's playing the challenge winning list as well. Makes sense. They still gained life, so they will be able to trigger Ocelot Pride this turn. What's happening here? I'm going to tap something with the Witch Blessed Meadow. You got a follow-up play, or were they thinking about a removal spell? Seems like a weird time to fire with a removal spell. Yep, they were just thinking about making a play. A Phelia. Yep, I think we are going to die. Yep, so our opponent is really popping off over there. They're going to get to draw another card. We are so far behind. I don't think it's worth using this Ephemerate. I think we need it to, like, Solitude or something. This gains 1 life. This gains 1 life. We could Ephemerate this to draw a card. Is that what we have to do here? Or we could Ephemerate the Haliya to draw a card. That's probably a playable option for us. But we're just going to die to all of this stuff. It's awful. Let's attack with this Cat Warrior token and see if we can flip the Ajani. They're just going to take 2. They're on 27. They don't care. Okay, let's warp this in. That gains us a life. Then we can rebound this. Sorry, Ephemerate this, and then we can rebound it next turn if we want to. So we've gained another life here. Play this out. We play out a Thalia, which is really rubbish here, but it's what we've got. This is going to draw us a card at least. Put warp on the bottom. So our Ocelot Pride is actually going to get to do something, which is nice. And we have the City's Blessing, which is not nothing. A Witch Enchanter. That's rubbish, isn't it? Okay. So this game is just a total farce, isn't it? So they can blink out our tokens with a flying Phelia. So they can attack with a flying cat and a flying dog. Blink out one of our tokens, which doesn't really matter. And then next turn we play Witch Enchanter, which will give us enough life to then get the Ocelot Pride going, which will then get us the card draw going. So we've assembled a combo ourselves. Alright, Wasteland's on mana over there. They're playing their creature out. So they also have the City's Blessing. So this is just going to be an absolute nightmare of just stuff happening. Ocelot Pride. Okay. This is a lot. So we're going to gain a bunch of life, draw a bunch of cards, and then we're just going to sort of send each other. This is one of the worst mirror matches I've played for a while. Like, these decks do not feel particularly interesting in a mirror match, in my opinion. We're both, like, relatively shy on removal. We have 6 removal spells each in our deck. And then we're just kind of, like, throwing haymakers down and see who assembles the combo. Alright, so flying cats, flying dogs. Do they blink out one of my tokens, or do they blink out one of their things to get slightly more energy and life? If only we had a red permanent and could flip our Ajani, and then we could start blowing stuff up. I think Ajani without red permanents is fine, but it does feel real good when it has a red permanent to go with. Okay, so blinked out an Ocelot Pride. So going for more of their own resources instead of denying us a 1/1 token. And I think gaining 2 life and an energy is better than making us have 1 less cat. So we have an Ephemerate coming if we want it. We can blink out our Ajani. It's probably the best thing we can do here. We will have to pay mana for that though, because of the Thalia. Our own Thalia getting in our way. But the fact is we don't have any flyers here, so our opponent's just popping way off. Bounce this. We get a cat. We get some life. Swords to Plowshares. Okay, well our opponent at the moment has 2 Ocelot Prides, so we can't beat that. They also have 2 life gain guys, so that doesn't work either. So that sucks. So we've gained a life off of the Ajani coming back in. We gained a life off of the cat token coming back in. We'll gain life off of these, so we'll be drawing a card this turn. I think we are just Swords to Plowsharing this turn. But where are we even pointing it is the difficult one. Right, let's get the cats going. Okay, Shepherd is pretty useful for next turn. I think we have to hit the Guide of Souls. It's the flying that is going to be the problem here. So I think we hit the Guide. What a ridiculous game. So they have 2 flyers that can keep nipping away at us, but we should out life gain the flyers. If they've got another Guide of Souls here, then why would I say that? Speak into existence, and here it comes. So we get to get our own Guide of Souls next turn. Yep, you can waste some ancient tomb, that's fine. So we go get Guide of Souls, play the Guide of Souls, but then we're not going to have any energy this turn, but we'll have next turn because we're going to have the City's Blessing doing its thing. Okay, the Karakas is pretty good here. They can keep our Ajani from ever really doing very much. Mother of Runes, yep, so combat isn't a thing. Like, you know, setting up good blocks isn't really going to be much of a thing either. Yeah, this is just like throwing a bunch of stuff on the board and seeing what happens sort of game. This is probably the opposite of the sort of Magic I like to play. I'm quite enjoying playing the deck. I just think this mirror is just miserable. So what are they going to do here? They can blink a creature to gain some life, so they probably blink the Ocelot Pride. Okay, they're jumping their Haliya as well, so that's a 5-power creature. No? They off it? Alright, they're coming in with the Ocelot Pride instead, so they're getting the lifelink going on that as well. Yep, sure. I'll just sit here in the dirt when our opponent gets to do all the cool stuff, and we don't. Yep, you got a whole bunch of triggers there. Enjoy them, opponents. Okay. Look at all these triggers. Our opponent's on 56. Now, we can have a similarly busted turn, but our opponent might be able to interfere with that. Okay, our land. I think we will warp this in. Do you want the Ocelot Pride here? So this makes us way more things. Do we need the Guide of Souls, or are we just trying to gain as much life as possible? If we Ocelot Pride, we're going to gain so many things. So we're only going to get a little bit of energy and life from this. I think we probably do need the Guide of Souls. It's just annoying. Right, we'll get this in. Is our opponent going to block any of our guys? Probably not. The cats. Why would they block them though? There's no point in them blocking them, and we kind of need to do blocks as well. Man, I'm not enjoying this particular match. Put this on the bottom, and then this pops off. And we have more triggers. I kind of missed their window to Karakas us for the best value there. Okay, so bouncing the Ajani. Okay. That just gives me more life gain triggers next turn though. Are we dead here? I don't think we are. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh no, we are dead, right? We're supposed to get the other thing. Yeah, well, I think we're just dead here anyway. Yeah, that's one of the worst games of Magic the Gathering I've played for a while. I did not enjoy this mirror match at all. Let's go on to round 4, but the white deck is still undefeated so far today, so let's see if we can keep it going. So, this opening hand doesn't really do anything in the early stages of the game. Like, we have, I say early stage, we don't have a 1-drop in our deck that really wants to have a 1-drop. And the other things we have is a lot of land, so I think this is a mulligan. You can gain a lot of life. I'm kind of tempted to keep this one. Our mana base is a little sketchy here, but the Guide of Souls can do a lot of work. So we can go Guide of Souls into Guide of Souls Haliya, and that gets us enough energy to start swinging for a decent amount. A Verdant Catacombs. So I print on some sort of Cradle control deck, perhaps. Fyndhorn Elves. Okay. Ajani. Is that better than a Guide of Souls? I don't think it is. So we go get the Guide of Souls in. Just get the energy ticking. That's what we really want here. And then we will play Haliya. So we've gained 1 life. This will gain us more life. So this will cantrip as well. Guide of Souls attacks. Getting some damages. Go to the end step. Draw a card. It's a Solitude. I don't think I want a Solitude of Fyndhorn Elves. We could draw Ephemerate next turn as well, which makes the Solitude way better. So bye you. So if we draw a land, we can Warp and Ajani. And that gets us all the triggers we need. Another Fyndhorn Elves, not quite as powerful as what we're doing, but they have things like Natural Order that are probably drawing towards. A Sylvan Safekeeper. It's kind of use it or lose it on this Solitude, eh? I don't want to use it yet. I think making our opponent sack a land is fine. A Green Sun Zenith going and getting the Dryad Arbor. Sure. Eiganjo. Play this one out. I think I'll warp this in and play the Ajani. If we draw a card that is white, then we can pitch the Solitude, but the Solitude isn't the most important thing now anyway, because our opponent has the Safekeeper. So this will get us quite a lot of energy. Okay, so we have 6 energy now. He's attack. So they're both going to get pumped. So 1 on this one. And then 1 on this one. So this is a swing for 8. That's half our opponent's life total. We have our opponent dead on board. And we're on 27 life. Put this warp on the bottom. Another Guide of Souls. So we do have access to a Solitude, which gains us 2 life. And we can fire it to hit another one of our creatures and gain potentially up to 5 life. So we might be able to survive against a Crate Hoof here, unless our opponent is playing Cradle this turn. That's 5, that's 25, plus 5 is 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 34. No, it would be less than that, won't it? Because they have to lose on these Dryad Arbors. So it'll be 6 less than that, which is actually be way more than 6 less. Yeah, I don't think they can kill us with a Natural Order this turn. And if they're not playing something of that level of power, then they're just going to be dead on board here. A Zenith for 1. Is this going to be... Yeah, so it's a way of generating more mana this turn. An Endurance. Okay. That's fine. A Shepherd. What are we doing with the Shepherd? So we play the Shepherd out. We gain 2 life. We could play a Guide of Souls first. And then we play the Shepherd. And that gets us 3 energies. That gets us 1 proc here. And then we could get another proc. So we play this Guide of Souls out. We play this Shepherd out. We go and get a white thing that we can pitch to the Solitude. So this will give us 3. So we get 2 energy plus 3 energy, which is 5 energy. We pitch this, that gets us 3 more energy, which is 8 energy, which is not enough to ping all 3 of these. We can ping 2. So we can make this a 5 power guy, and then we can make this a 4 power guy. They block the 5 power guy, they take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so they are dead if we do that play. Okay, let's do the play that we think kills our opponent, shall we? So we just get like a Mother of Runes, it's fine, because it's just getting pitched to this Solitude anyway. Well, our opponent, they're just going to sack a land, so it doesn't really matter what we do here, but we're just doing it for the triggers. So we'll target this. This will force them to safekeep and they'll lose a land. Yep, that's fine. Just makes our life more difficult next time around. Takes up to 8 energy. So if we attack with everything, It doesn't make a lot of sense. If we jump both of these, so they block this, and they take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, we just attack with everything, I guess. That's fine. There's a bunch of ways we can do this. We sort of diversify our little portfolio of creatures here. So they can block one of these, and then they die. They can't do any sort of snuff out action. I guess they could play another endurance. Have we just completely punted this one because they have a second endurance? Maybe. Okay, so block. They have to block the biggest one. So they're going to lose an endurance here. So block the biggest one, and then they can trade with this, but then we get an Ajani. So then they can just wall this, and then they go to 1. Like, it's still not great for them. Whatever they do here. Let's just say yes. And then we make another cat. Gain a bunch more energy. Like, we're on 38 here. They would need to have Cradle into Natural Order to have any sort of chance. Yeah. We could have done that combat slightly differently, but I don't think it mattered at that point. So, playing against elves. What happened last time we played against elves? We didn't change anything. So, here we go. Yep, we have the combo. That's like the most powerful thing our deck does, so we'll enjoy that. Our opponent's mulligan to 5. Are they looking for specific removal or a specific speed of the hand or what? Burning Catacombs off of the Once Upon a Time, and they're playing it straight away. We're going to see a Bayou into Thoughtseize. That's my guess. Just a Findhorn Elves. Okay. So I think for the purposes of Snuff Out, which we know our opponent's going to be playing here, I'm going to play this Mother of Runes first, and then we can just get Guide of Souls into Ocelot Pride next turn, and it's going to be protected, and that should overrun what our opponent's able to put out. Elvish Reclaimer, that can find them something useful in the near future, like a Cradle. Opponent's only got 2 cards left though. Yep, this is the correct attack because we're not blocking with our Mother of Runes. The Snuff Out on the Mother of Runes, so it's kind of done its job already. I will play Plains. We'll play the Guide of Souls. We'll play an Ocelot Pride. And then we can get some tokens going, unless they've got another Snuff Out here. Okay. Alright, our opponent's passing turn. What can I do here? I can play a Karakas to play... Is it worth getting the Guided by Light in? I think it is. So we warp this in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to get the City's Blessing, right? This turn. That's going to be pretty gross. In case of Endurance, we probably want to attack with the Guide of Souls. Because this doesn't die to an Endurance if that's their last card in hand. But they can blank the damage without taking our guy out. Okay. So we go to the end step here. Put the warp on the bottom. And then we're going to make some friends. We draw a card. Wasn't a Solitude. That would have been really nice, but still. Okay, so we're on 33. Our opponent did not fetch anything at end step there. Oh, they just scooped up the game entirely. Yep, so we've beat the Elf deck like twice here, and we're going to the final round. The 4-1 is on the table. The only match we lost was the Mirror. So pretty good so far. Let's see if we can put the 4-1 on the board. Okay, what does our hand do here? We have a very wastelandable hand. We can lead front foot forward on the Ocelot Pride and just go into more cats or clear the way and start going wide that way. I think I'm willing to give it a go. I don't think my opponent's going to be wastelanding my Ocelot Pride start here. I think they're going to have to respect the fact that I have damage in play that can snowball. But you never know. Sometimes they might have a hand where that's just the hand they get to play. Okay, they've mulliganed to 5. We're just going to get Wombo comboed. It's about time we ran into a combo deck. Like, the format is like 50% combo, and we haven't really hit against any yet. Let's go for the Ocelot Pride. This can attack and then start growing a little board for us as early as turn 2. We actually have one of our anti-combo pieces in hand in the Thalia, so depending on what our opponent does, that might be what we're up to. Hopefully we'll get some information based on what our opponent does this turn. A Swamp. A Fatal Push. Okay, I don't really know what's going on. I'm happy to see the Plains though. I think I'm going to deploy the Thalia. Get some old school Death and Taxes vibes going. If our opponent's on a mulligan to 5, they might not have the resources to deploy the cards in their hand if we've got this Thalia in play. Okay, so probably looking at like just Dimir control here. Like Dimir mid-range, sorry. Okay, we have a Wasteland here. I will attack and see if our opponent wants to do anything about it. Okay, I'll Wasteland their colour source here, and I think we are going for the Thalia, the Phelia. Phelia and Thalia. We'll leave up the Karakas in case our opponent is trying to spend some mana to kill our guy. I'm worried that I might let our opponent convert a Daze here, but we'll see. A Baleful Strix. This could be ninjas. A lot of basics. The Baleful Strix is normally the sort of thing you expect to see out of a ninja's deck because it's a good thing to ninjutsu and then put back in. So we can get the Phelia in. I think it's better to advance our game plan than bounce the Tamiyo. Okay, so we have planes here. I think we want to plow this away. It's going to cost us 2 mana though. That's such a pain, isn't it? Oh, Thalia, why are you jamming me up? We could bounce this and plow this. But then what are we blinking? Nothing of note. Would I trade this for a Baleful Strix? It doesn't seem amazing, but I think I'm okay with that. I guess I could blink out my own... Oh wow, our opponents just had enough of that. Okay, I wasn't sure what decisions I was making, whether they were right, but we got there. So we saw some relatively fair looking stuff over there. Unlicensed Tales is something we can have. They might have Delve spells and Murktides, but I'm not sure we even need to sideboard anything here. If they have Murktides, we can kill them with Exorcise, but if they're just on ninjas, we don't really get to kill those with the Exorcise. I think we just send it again. Deck is good. We have the Guide of Souls combo here. If they're ninjas, they don't have Wasteland. If they're Blue-Black Temper, they do. So we are on the draw, so we have chances to find more white sources, but I think we're just going to index into the best thing we can. Ideally, we draw a white source straight away, so we can just go Mother of Runes into our combo. Okay, where is this Thoughtseize going to be pointed? You can't take us off a turn 1 play. The Ephemerate looks a little bit rubbish here. We could use it as protection down the line. Just like blanket removal spell at a key moment. Alright, they got rid of the Mother. Makes some sense. A Solitude. Not really what we wanted. I think we lead off with the Guide of Souls. Maximise the value we can get from it. We're going to see anything like a Force? No. Basic green source. Maybe our opponent is doing something very different to what I thought. I guess we attack. If they have Bowmasters, it's a little bit annoying. But we can Ephemerate if we wish. There is the Bowmaster. Okay, get the Bowmasters in. So we have a plan here. Sure, you can ping my little guy. So we can Solitude and take both of these out. Or we can just take the block and let one Solitude happen. And then we get the Phelia. Is it better to have the Phelia around? So this turn we can play the Ocelot Pride and start snowballing. It's a really interesting decision here. So we could Solitude pitching the Phelia, then Ephemerate it. Or we could Solitude pitching the Ephemerate and keep this Phelia around. I'm going to pitch the Ephemerate. We already established it's not looking like an amazing card for us right now. Take this out. And we get to make an Ocelot Pride that isn't going to get shot by that Bowmasters they played. And then we end up making some kitty cats. Okay. I think we're in a good position. But our opponent might have, like, Pernicious Deed. Okay, they're just completely off it immediately. So our play, beating their Bowmasters, was clearly good enough. So today you have watched Monowhite Ocelot Pride mid-range, I guess some people are calling it. You've seen that deck go undefeated today. We did lose a round, but it was to the mirror. So that's a pretty ringing endorsement for this deck. Although playing that mirror is certainly not an endorsement. That was horrible. So, what do we think about this deck? Obviously, it seems really good. Like the core of Ocelot Pride and Guide of Souls, we've known this has been good for ages, right? And the Ajani is part of that. Again, we know this has been good for ages. Nobody needs to tell you that Mother of Runes is good to protect this sort of combo. And this card, a cantripping life gain engine that can also come down later. So it's kind of like 2 spells almost. You know, clearly very good. Thalia looked terrible. But I understand why it's there. There are some matches where you need this sort of effect. But I don't think this is what we should be running in the main deck here. And Starfield Shepherd helped assemble our combo. So essentially, we're a combo deck, really, aren't we? We are a Guide of Souls plus Ocelot Pride combo deck, and then that just goes big and we win the game. We have ways of protecting it. We have ways of finding it. We also have redundancy in the life gain thing here with the Haliya. So yeah, that's kind of basically what we're doing. We're just indexing very heavily on these cards and they're very good. I don't think Ancient Tomb should be in this deck. I just don't think it makes sense to have the Ancient Tomb. If this was a Plains, if these were Plains, I think the deck would just be better because we really want to go like white 1-drop and then white. Like, what is this helping us accelerate out? Post-board, it helps with Null Rods and Licensed Hearse. Sure, I'm down with that. But then, in terms of our main deck, what is it doing? Sometimes it's going to help us play a Haliya, but that's just a 3-mana 3/3. It's not the end. It's not like a big thing, is it? We've got the Starfield Shepherd, which is, you know, something that we can play later on. But generally speaking, I'm quite happy just to play this as a tutor most of the time. It doesn't need to be doing other stuff, and Phelia can make it do other stuff. So yeah, I'm not a lover of these Ancient Tombs. The Chrome Mox to help us ramp out our combo to like have the turn 1 set both up and just start snowballing is fine, but you could definitely tweak this and just make it slightly more stable. And I think there's like the Ephemerate and the Thalia, they don't really seem to be doing what we want. Like Phelia does the Ephemerate stuff, but whilst also being a fine card on its own, so you can just have that doing its thing and makes a lot more sense to me. I do have a mono-white Ocelot Pride Guide of Souls deck that's a bit different to this, that is deep down in my queue that I'll get around to at some point. So as you well know, I play a bit of Soul Sisters every now and then on the channel, so we've got something a bit more Soul Sisters-y, which I think might look pretty good here. Alright, yeah, deck is good. You should be aware of it. It's put up a few top 8s now, and it's also won an event. I think it might have even won 2 events now. I'm not sure, but it's definitely a thing that you have to keep on your radar in the format. Now, as we saw, there are definitely ways that you can slaughter it. If you've got your Tabernacles and things and ways of keeping the combo off, like we are playing a bunch of bad cards on their own. We need to assemble Ocelot Pride and friends. Ocelot Pride without the life gain becomes awkward. Guide of Souls is fine on its own, to be fair, and we can like grow our guys. We had that game against Elves where we were just bashing them with a bunch of guys. But yeah, we're a low to the ground deck that can do some pretty disgusting things and just set up a nice combo. And I hope you enjoy watching me play some little white creatures today. Please remember to like and subscribe. It does help me out and doesn't cost you anything. And think about becoming a member of my channel. It's only $1 a month and it gets you early access to my videos and does support me. Alright, thank you so much for watching and goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month as well as regular articles, and lastly the higher tier gives you all of the above as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.